Alrighty, guys, it's been a little while since I posted a video, and that's because I took some time off to head abroad and then really just recreate the business from the ground up. So now I'm going to go about relaunching menshine.com and post more videos more regularly. So what I did here, this first topic stems from many questions that many guys in many men's forums have been asking me over the course of this last year. So I figured this would be an appropriate topic to start with. Now, in terms of how I went about putting this together, I really just skimmed the internet and then put together a list of the most commonly asked questions in regards to this particular topic. And this topic, of course, if you can't read the title, is The Modern Men's Guide to Online Dating Applications. But before we get started, since I am going to be posting more regularly now, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notify bell so that way when I upload any videos, you will go ahead and get them. I'm also going to be doing a lot more collaborating with guys in the space. And then if you like this video, please like the video as well. Let's begin. So the first question, how do I catch a woman's attention on online dating apps? There's three main steps you have to take, and one is to just set up the profile correctly. So that means you fill out all the information, connect your social media accounts, that includes Instagram, and then verify. Now, for most dating applications, to verify, you have to upload some sort of an ID or do some sort of security check. I'd say don't get too worried about this because if you're online already, your information is probably already out there. Number two is to take awesome photos. There's a couple ways of going about this. The easiest way, but a little more costly, is to hire a professional photographer. But if you don't have the time nor resources to do that, then learn some basic photography concepts and just use your iPhone or whatever smartphone you might have available to you. They've gotten surprisingly good over the years. And if you go to my Instagram profile at Jaron Scott, you can see that most of those photos are actually taken with iPhone photos. So as long as you touch them up well, then you can get away with less than stellar professional photography. And a lot of people don't know the difference. And then, of course, look good. This obviously helps. If you need help there, go to menshine.com and I can go ahead and get you pointed in the right direction as far as how to start addressing your fitness and lifestyle goals. But looking good will definitely help. These apps are entirely visual and you want to keep that in mind. Now, when you do get the match, open. That means just say something, say anything. It could be as simple as, hi, my name is Jaron. Just make sure that you're fun, confident, and flirty. And before you move on, have a goal. You always want to have a goal in mind. That could be to move her offline into Instagram, into WhatsApp or text messaging to immediately set logistics, or hell, even a phone call or FaceTime. That's really up to you. But when you have a conversation with a girl online, or really just anyone in any aspect of life, you want to have a goal. Make sure you know where this thing's going. And then most importantly, make sure to know when to end it. What apps make my online dating pics look good? Well, there are a few editing options. First, you can try just your native cell phone editor. I have an iPhone, so whatever tools come standard with your phone. If you upload them to Instagram, you can use your Instagram filters or editor. Be sure to save. I've done this many times where I edit a photo, think, oh, I have the filters just down pat, and then I forget to save, and the entire photo is lost. Or if you want to go the professional route, you can hire someone on Fiverr.com for as little as $5. And for those of you who don't know what Fiverr is, it really is that. It's just a digital marketplace. You go online and then you buy gigs, essentially, which start at $5, but they can go a lot pricier. But that's a quick and easy way to do it, too. Now, if you have Instagram, which you should if you're doing online dating, there's a couple ways to go about this also. You can post a story first and include any features native to the app, like ask a question or a poll to see which one's most popular. And then usually, and you'll see guys, a lot of girls that you follow do this, they'll convert their popular stories to posts shortly thereafter, and then they'll wait a bit and they'll delete the posts that don't perform well. A third option, and this is a paid option, is to go to photofeeler.com. You can upload any of your potential dating photos, select the demographics to rank you. So you'll want to select that these are dating photos and that you'll have females voting on them. And then give it some time, usually in like less than a day, you'll be able to have the results there. And you'll just want to review those and then select the photos for your dating profile lineup based on those that are most popular, according to photofeeler.com. What is the best online dating app? Well, I'm a bit biased here, but well, biased in the sense that these are the ones that work best for me, but also I think that when you look at these, they're also the ones that are most common on the market. So, number one is Tinder. That's, if you guys don't know what Tinder is, basically it's a swipe app. You have a stack of pictures of females in your area. You go through them, you swipe right if you like them, left if you do not. The good thing about this is there's no messaging restrictions, even on the free version. But if you do upgrade to the premium versions, you get more features like you can change your location and all sorts of things, and you can boost too, which is cool. And then, really, when it comes to Tinder, it has the most market familiarity. So I would recommend to those of you who are completely new to online dating to start there first. Bumble is similar to Tinder in that it's a swipe app, but it's unique in the sense that girls have to start the conversation, which is great. This is actually my favorite app because the fact that they have to open the conversation means that she's already essentially displayed interest, or at least enough interest to talk to you amongst her other matches. And then most of the girls on here, they're actively looking to date. Now, Bumble, you'll notice if you spend some time on it, you won't see the same girls over and over again like you do on Tinder. So I think girls on Bumble, they're actively looking to date and eventually get off the app. And I believe that was the motto or the tagline of the company for a while, was Bumble, the app to get off of. And then Instagram. Instagram's a great one too. Again, if you're in the online dating game, you should have an Instagram. It's a major social proof tool. And yes, it's also a dating app. And really, it's a dating app because it gives people in general, and then in this case, in the dating context, females in general, a preview of what an experience of you will be like. So you'll want to have an interesting lifestyle and be sure to showcase that interesting lifestyle. So this is a Reddit question. And I used to get this before, and sometimes I still get it every now and then. But so here's some tips based on things that I've done. Can you look too serious on online dating apps? Well, the first question to ask is, are you a serious person? Now, you'll have to take a step back, be a little honest with yourself, look at your pics and assess, do I look seriously or do I look serious? A good question to ask yourself for this is, would you want to hang out with you if you were not you? I know that's a mouthful, but really, are you the type of person that you would want to be around? If you're not, then you might want to fix that. And especially if you were conveying that non-communicationally through your online dating photos. And if you find out you do look too serious, don't worry. There's some tips to look less serious. One that I really like, because I'm not very good at posing in photos, is to do candid shots. So what you'll do is you'll tell your photographer to do a rapid click. And really, you start this when you begin your pose. So tell them, okay, as I'm getting into my posing position, you'll want him or her to start snapping pre-pose pics. Now you'll do your poses. They'll have you do whatever. And then when the photographer is done, when they say, yeah, or like, okay, yeah, we're good, tell them to snap a few more pics post-pose. I've noticed that for me, these are the best candid shots because usually a nice natural expression comes over my face immediately after I'm done posing. And if you do this, it'll help ease posing anxiety. And it's super simple, quick, and easy. A lot of guys, you'll go out there, book a full day session, do maybe multiple takes, and it's not necessary. Get some really good candid shots, and then you'll be able to cruise through them fairly quickly. What is the future of online dating apps? I thought this was an odd question because I don't think they're going anywhere. More and more people are on online dating apps. In fact, there's many of them, and they're all competing for users. And they've all become socially acceptable and standardized. I think because of that, they're going to become even more popular. Because when it comes down to it, they're easy, convenient, and relatively safe nowadays, especially if you do the verification things that I mentioned in other videos. Now, people do have shorter attention spans, and now on these dating apps, they can essentially shop for dates or experiences. And really, when you go onto a dating app, you'll see after a while that it literally is a virtual dating marketplace. Think of it as something akin to Amazon or eBay, where profiles essentially communicate potential dating opportunities or offers. Users on the apps, I mean, they really just bid and buy on these dating offers. So you want to make sure you're putting the absolute best offer out there, which we'll get into. What are the top online dating apps? This list is based on the criteria of what is most common in the market. So Tinder has the most amount of total users worldwide. There's market penetration worldwide, and it's culturally common, or at least it's not as culturally unacceptable in most places worldwide as it may have been before. Again, Bumble's a great place to start conversations because well, I'm sorry, Bumble's a great place for girls to start conversations because it essentially shows you that they indeed have some sort of interest. It's not as popular in rural areas, I've noticed, but in most high population or metro areas, it's growing in popularity. And for me, it's also the easiest to get matches, which again is a nice feature because you don't want to waste your time on dating apps to not get matches or meetups. OkCupid, I haven't used this one in a while. This is a more traditional dating app. It's been on the market for a while, but there is a wide array of potential matches. For this one, it's more of kind of a profile feature, although they do have swipe stuff now, I believe. So you want to make sure, again, to complete your entire profile as you would with any other dating app. What is the best online dating app? Oh, there's so many apps to choose from. So my criteria is that there are many profiles to choose from. Girls are likely to chat and meet up. And then for me, since I travel a lot, is that it has the international and location function. Now, for me, the best is actually combining two of the popular ones. So you have them essentially work in conjunction. What I do usually is have Tinder to meet new matches, or this is prospecting essentially. And then when you start the conversation, you want to lead them to Instagram as fast as possible to chat and then nurture the lead. And this is important because then they can see your posts and stories, and essentially you can just re-engage the lead as you're going about your normal lifestyle. So make sure when you send up your profiles, guys, if you have the ability to integrate to Instagram, that you go ahead and do so. You'll want to make interesting posts and stories. And then hopefully, if you do all of that right, you can just sit back and watch DMs come in. Usually when I do a post or story, I'll get at least 2 or 3 DMs as far as, hey, are you in town? Or, oh, what are you doing? Or, oh, hey, I like that place. Or, oh, you're close to my house, or something like that. So this is why you want to connect these two dating apps. How long to message a girl back on a dating app? Um, I'd say now it has to be immediately. Back in the day, there were old school dating rules. I believe it was, don't call a girl back after unless 2 days have passed after getting her number. But those rules are kind of out the window now in the modern dating world. Everyone is competing for attention, so you want to message her while you're on top of her mind, and also you want to do it instantly to avoid getting lost in her matches. Now, if you don't have the ability to do so, say for example you do a lot of swiping, you close the app, come back a day later, or whenever it is, then you'll want to do time and match. So for example, if I swipe at 8 p.m. and then I close the app, well, I'll come back at 8 p.m. and then open that batch of matches, because I assume that that's usually about the time she's online. Most people stick to a routine and they swipe and message at the same time. So assume here she has a routine. Of course, it's not always 100%, but usually that ends up working out well for me. And then again, I mentioned batches. You want to do these in batches. Usually I'll use the same opener follow-up CTA, because the point of the dating app is to get them off the dating app onto a social media platform or directly talking to you as fast as possible. And again, I realize I probably lose a lot of good opportunities here, but this is really just about maximizing efficiency and minimizing time waste. And at the end of the day, really the way I look at it is the most interesting girls are the ones that are going to get the date. Do online dating apps feed into people's narcissism? Well, first we have to ask ourselves, what is narcissism? It's essentially just a combination of selfishness plus entitlement, the little lack of empathy, and then a need for admiration. A good question to ask yourself is, are you a narcissist? Which ironically, and kind of I think funny enough, is I asked this to a psychologist buddy once, and he said most people are to a degree. That's just due to the nature of our online addiction, which we'll get into in other videos. And dating apps definitely can exacerbate them. But when I asked him, well, am I a narcissist? He said something along the lines of, well, most narcissists wouldn't be asking that question. So I don't know, guys, the verdict's up to you. But I think if you are in an online nature, it does bring out some of those elements in you. So try not to overdo it. And that's because there is such thing as an online dating app addiction. And this is essentially every time you get a match or message, you get a dopamine hit. So you get a high when you get a success, which could be a match, message, meetup, or low when there's no matches. And sometimes that happens. Especially guys that live in rural towns, they'll tell me, oh, I got like 6 matches in the last week and there's no one here. That happened to me recently. I went to a rural town and just not much going on. So you can get a bit of a low when that dopamine high wears off and you're getting 0 matches. How many online dating apps are there? Oh God, go into your app store on whatever mobile device you have and literally type in dating app or just dating. There's a dating app for every single niche. You'll be quite surprised. And there's new apps added and removed daily. Now, many of the lesser known ones are full of ads or spammy, so I wouldn't recommend using these. So a better question would be, how many good dating apps are there? There are a handful of good dating apps. For example, Tinder, Bumble, OkCupid, some of the more common ones. And you want to use apps that have a more robust user base. That's because a lot of these have been vetted. You'll still come across fake profiles, bots, and things like that. But the more common ones, they'll have less of this than some of the lesser common ones. And then again, you need to define your goals when you're approaching online dating. Available apps do depend on goals. Again, there are niche apps, but you'll have to ask yourself, do you want something casual, short term? Do you want a full relationship? Do you want a swiping type app, more of a profile type app if you're an avid reader or writer? Or do you want to skip all the nonsense together and just go straight pay to play? So you have to kind of sit down and assess the dating market and then determine what it is you're looking for and what you're willing to put into it effort wise, or maybe time and money wise, to achieve these goals. Are online dating apps worth it? Well, again, what are your goals? Do you want to hook up, fling, marriage? I always ask guys, how are you doing now? So, for example, if you're having a hard time talking to girls now and then getting dates, which especially during recent years with some of the things that have changed globally, you might not have as good luck online, but it's a great way to practice. And I always ask myself, how many girls can you meet daily out and about? So, for example, you'll notice that most people are stuck in their routines and you go about your day on autopilot. So, really, how many new girls do you meet daily, or do you even see as potential to meet daily? Another question is, how much is your time worth? So, a quick calculation is to take your salary divided by 2080. That's your annual salary, and that gives you an idea of your hourly worth. So, let's say it's like $50 an hour. Now, you know you're worth $50 an hour. A conversion is a goal completion. So let's say you just want to meet up for a coffee. Um, what you need to do is take the total time spent. So let's say you spent 2 hours. That'd be $100 with your labor, and then you divide it by number of conversions. So let's say you spent 2 hours and you got one meetup. Well, essentially that's $100 worth of lost opportunity of your time, if you choose to look at it that way. Now, ask yourself, when you scale that, let's say you can get 20, 30, 40 matches maybe once you get everything streamlined and down pat and optimized on your profiles. Well, then that equation changes quite a bit. So there is a point, and you have to do some analysis in your daily life as you're going about. There is a point where it's like, okay, online dating makes more sense than going about in person, because you get a lot more opportunities to a lot more matches and conversations and potentially meetups than you would if you're just out and about. And of course, there are factors that change that. If you're a DJ, then, well, you're probably doing a little better in real life, or as good in real life as you are online, because those girls slide in DMs too. And then remember too, it all comes down to analog versus digital. So there are guys that are avid day gamers. There are guys that are avid digital. I recommend taking a combination of both and then seeing what works best for you. So analog benefits are, you only get a handful of girls a day, but you can talk to them in person and they can immediately feel you out. So you'll get more real-time communication, indicators of interest, which are very helpful. Now, digital, you could potentially, again, depending upon who you are and how your profiles are set up, get hundreds of girls a day. So really, it just comes down to you. Do you close better doing analog or digital? Again, guys, try both, see what works best for you. What are the best free online Christian dating apps? Now, I'll admit this is not my forte. I always tell people I'm Christian cultured, but don't necessarily participate in any dogmatic type religion. Most of my life, I have lived in mostly secular places. However, I have lived in more traditional cultures, Christian, Catholic, and have dated in those as well. So I'd say, having plenty of friends that are Christians, I'd probably just start with asking them. Ask friends and family, hey, how do you meet people? If you want someone to be a Christian. Online forums are probably a great place to ask people really how you should go about doing that. Quora and Reddit are the big ones. And then if you're active in the church, ask your pastor, priest, or even a clergy member. Now, when I did do a search, the top Christian dating apps, and these are by popularity in terms of downloads, are the following: Christian Mingle, Christian Cafe, and Christian Cupid. How to use online dating apps safely for men. Now, when it comes to safety for men, it's a little different than women. So really what men are looking for in online dating apps is to prevent scammers, catfish, and potential legal problems. Physical safety could be a concern, but it's not as risky for men as it is for women. And of course, you can mitigate this by doing like a FaceTime or a face-to-face messaging or call before meeting. And you can also meet in public places. Again, I recommend meeting at a park, quick coffee, maybe a drink, whatever suits your fancy. Now, before going to your place, let's say you meet in a public place and you decide, hey, let's go back to my place. This is going well. You need to assess and vet and make sure there are no or minimal red flags. Make sure the date is escalating. So uh, make sure that things are moving in the direction where you want them to go. Guys, do not assume this. You need to be very clear about what is going to happen. Guys that are more seasoned at the game, you know that direct communication can be a big asset here. So normally, and I'll start on the front end of my dating profile, letting them know this is exactly what to expect with me. And then it entails, coming back to my place or doing whatever the offer is for the day. But you need to set expectation, guys. You need to lead the conversation so there's no confusion, and that'll help you avoid any potential issues. Is calling safe after chatting through an online app? I'd say absolutely, unless you're worried about giving strangers your number. Actually, I did have a weird girl call me today, and she started yelling at me for some reason. So I'm like, okay, whatever, you're done. And then she asked me, then she called back, or then she texted and asked, hey, can we meet up after all? I was like, no, I don't really like you. Like you're rude. I don't date rude people. So guys, this is great because God, Lord knows, I could have actually agreed to have her show up or go and meet her somewhere and completely waste my time. So I'm a big advocate of face-to-face messaging apps. It lets you verify who the girl is. It lets you set and or confirm plans, and it gives both parties more confidence. And again, in my case, I didn't have confidence at all. I was like, no, I don't want to meet up with you. And she has the right to do that too. So if a girl meets you and says, hey, you know what, I'm not vibing you, it's absolutely fine, guys. It's a numbers game. There's plenty more girls out there for you. And when it comes down to what app to use, any face-to-face messaging app will work. Hangout, FaceTime, Instagram video are the big ones. You can even do a regular video call. And then if you're international, WhatsApp is pretty standard, and it's great for that. WhatsApp can also do location too, which is nice. Additional benefits are that calls allow you the ability to flirt and then escalate a little more because you have a little more intimate form of communication than just texting. It also lets you clarify any uncertainties and then lock down and confirm logistics. Again, you don't want to be stood up. You don't want to waste your time. You also don't want to waste her time. So chatting one-on-one allows you to get to the bottom of things. Which online dating apps are best for computer or for a desktop version? So most major dating apps actually have a desktop version. Some are good and some are bad. Most of them fall in between. The user experience varies based on whatever browser you're using, whatever operating system you're using. So you want to give it a try and see what works best for you. Now, in terms of desktop versus mobile, I find that desktop is best for batch messages. So, for example, I have the same opener. Like, this is not my opener now, but hey, how are you doing today? You can copy, paste, boom, 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 and just knock them out. Also, when it is time to set the date, let's say the girl agrees to meet you and you're like, hey, where did I meet her? How'd the conversation start? Because you want to be congruent in your messaging at all times. You can search and filter easier too on the desktop version, which is nice. And then also productivity wise, it's nice not to be distracted by your phone all day long. Normally I put my phone on silent. I put it face down. Guys that call and text me, you guys know this. I will get back to you, but it will not be immediately. So my preference, taking all of that into consideration, is to use the phone for swiping. This is when I have downtime. I live in Mexico City, so whenever I'm in the back of a taxi or an Uber, it's a great time for swiping. If I'm on the toilet for an extended period of time, which happens from time to time in Mexico, it's a great time for swiping. And then I get the swiping out of the way, put the phone down and leave it. And then when I have another period of time, usually I'll give like 15 minutes or something a day for this, open the desktop and then just bam, 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 just knock out your messages. Mine are real quick and simple. It's, hey, I am. If she responds back, then I will leave her my Instagram or WhatsApp with the offer. And the offer is usually to meet up for a drink, for a coffee, for a stroll in the park, or to come directly over if she indicates high enough interest. And then again, set the call, do a video call to verify who she is, and then to lock down logistics. What type of photos do I need for online dating? Well, you definitely need photos. Online dating is 100% visual. There is some subtext you can add with if you get creative with your copy and your description and the way you set up your profile. But by and large, it's mostly based on perceived attractiveness from your photos. So there's lots of advice on the internet about how to go about this. So I'll just give some main points. You want to be sexy and stylish. So showcase your physical highlights. If you have a good jawline, show that. If you have a good chest, show that. Good arms, show that. If you don't, then that's fine. You need to dress well. You need to dress really well. Ideally, you'll be in shape and you'll dress well. Now, here's another tip, guys. Make sure you show your eyes. I used to not do this. In fact, if you look at my icons for my brand, it's usually the sunglass guy. Girls would complain and tell me that they didn't quite like this, or it didn't build the trustworthy factor up high enough. In fact, I also checked on Photo Feeler, and the results were overwhelming in the direction of showing your eyes directly. In terms of shirtless photos, I get asked this all the time. Shirtless photos work, but they have to be candid. So, for example, if you're playing volleyball on the beach and your buddy snaps a pic of you, that's fine. And then also you have to be fit. If you're fat and you're doing shirtless photos, you might not get the results you were intending to get there. So, as a general rule, if you can see your abs or a visual outline of abs, then you're probably okay doing the shirtless photos. Don't do mirror selfie shirtless photos, or don't do any photos where you're clearly trying too hard. You want to keep it all natural. Go to my Instagram at Jaron Scott. That's my personal Instagram, and you'll get an idea of how I go about doing shirtless photos. I'm also terrible at taking photos, so most photos that I post on there are photos that I don't realize, where I don't realize I'm in a photo, actually. Another way to go about, and a lot of guys are really good at this. I'm not yet. I do want to get starting to dress better, but sophisticated and successful. So pictures in suits or formal events. For this, it does require you have an interesting lifestyle. And then if you do go this route, if you can, show yourself in a dominant position. So for example, if you're leading a speaking engagement, or maybe you're giving a best man speech at a wedding or a toast or something like that, you want to show that you have dominance over others in these positions, if you can. If not, that's fine. And then also photos, you need some social proof. So you need to make sure you communicate to the girl that you're a social person, that you are a human being, and that you are not a stalker. And really the criteria for this is ideally, if you're in a social setting, if you can put yourself in the center or again in a dominant position, that's great. But really the key here is just to show that other humans like you, that people can tolerate being around you. If you can, if the dogs like you, girls love dogs, and actually dudes love dogs too. Who doesn't love dogs? And then the main thing is just to communicate that you're not a weirdo. There's a lot of creepy people on the internet, girls and guys. So this girl has no idea who you are. So make sure that you visually convey the fact that you're just a normal, awesome guy and you're not a weirdo. How do I get the attention of a woman on online dating apps? This goes back to an old saying. It's one, be attractive, two, don't be unattractive. But really, guys, it does come down to photos. You need to be attractive. If not, try to maximize the photos, lighting, angles, dress, and all these things to make the photos as attractive as possible. When it comes time to talking, have a fun, flirty conversation and have a goal. Make sure you know where you want this thing to go. Do you want to just delete her? Do you want to send her to Instagram? Do you want to go to WhatsApp or regular text? Or do you want to meet up somewhere or have her come right over? You need to set the tone of the conversation from the get-go and lead it in that direction. As far as not being unattractive, no unflattering photos, nothing pixelated, nothing blurred, nothing obscuring your face, nothing where she'll be like, huh? Like, is that for real? Or who the hell is that guy? When you're talking to her, this is a rule I made for myself just a couple of weeks ago. I had a week where I had like 3 bad dates. I'm like, God, what's going on with me? Turns out I was stressed out from some business stuff, and I was texting in a bad mood. So I made this rule. It's helped me since. Just don't text in a bad mood. And then no weird stuff, guys. Like if you're into really niche, weird hobbies, and you know if you're weird or not. Like whenever you tell people, just your regular friends, hey, I'm doing this today, or oh, I'm into that, and they're just like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, dude. That might be weird. Weird for the mainstream. It might be awesome for you. I have lots of awesome activities that other people are like, okay, yeah, whatever. So you might want to save that until you get to know her a bit better, until there's a bit more intimacy in the relationship, assuming it heads in that direction. And then again, seriously, guys, just be attractive. Set up your profile correctly, have a winning lineup of photos, and then learn how to escalate and close. How many people use online dating apps? Well, now I think most people use online dating apps. If you remember back in the day, people were very wary of internet in general. I remember like growing up in the 90s, no one wanted to give their credit card information. And when the initial dating apps started coming online, just the idea of online dating was kind of for low sexual market value people only. In fact, for a while, it was really embarrassing to talk about. I think people saw it akin to taking out classifieds in the newspaper, for those of you old enough to remember those days. But since then, the tides have been changing. They've been changing rapidly. And that's really because millennials, such as myself, we've rushed to the dating apps. Hookup culture has fueled the popularity. And then because of those reasons, it's gained just overall social normalization. And I've noticed that in most countries, dating apps, they're fairly normalized now. Again, everyone on the market uses dating apps. Really, most people do. If you want to go dating, if you want to get in the dating game, at least get your feet wet in this area and give it a try. Make sure you remember that people do shop for experiences on these apps. So you want to present yourself in the best light. And because of that, and because of just the massive volume that you can go through in terms of viewing these experiences or offers for potential dating experiences, I think really it's most common to meet on dating apps. In fact, it's not uncommon when someone tells you, hey, I'm in a new relationship. You're like, oh, great. Where'd you guys meet? A few years ago, like 2012 timeframe, they'd reluctantly say, oh, Tinder. But now I just say, yeah, I met on Tinder. Everyone meets on Tinder. Why do women have better luck on online dating apps? Well, hell, why do women have better luck in life off of dating apps? It's because we're biological. I mean, really comes down to biology. When you look at it, guys, we're just a bunch of big overgrown animals with a huge prefrontal cortex with a lot of modern stuff. But really, if you strip all those things out of your life, we're really just animals at the end of the day. And when it comes to reproduction, which is really what the goal of dating is, men and women have different motivators. So women are the gatekeepers to intimacy. And remember this, guys, and men are the gatekeepers to relationships. Because of those reasons, that changes the market demand for the genders. So more men are looking for more women than women are looking for men, typically. If you don't believe me, go to a nightclub. You'll see that there's usually covers for men and not for women. If you go to a strip club, there's very few women and there's very few men throwing money at them. So because of this, usually 80% of women on these apps want 20% of men. And if you're not in the top 20%, you got to be honest with yourself. You're essentially invisible to women in the online dating world. So you might perceive this as not having luck. When I first got in the online game, I didn't have much luck at all, maybe a couple matches a day. But as you go through these things and you start to understand how to optimize your profile and set up your digital image to where you convey yourself in the most positive light possible, then you'll see this change. And this will change very rapidly as you get some of these things down. And then really, I think it comes down to modern male behavior too. A lot of guys don't have standards anymore. And because of that, they do really simpy, desperate things that really just completely unattract women. And in doing so, it frustrates them more. So they do more things that unattract women. And it creates just this nasty negative feedback loop. So that's something you'd want to overcome too. How to chat on online dating apps. So, well, there's usually three parts to a conversation. Those in sales know this. So you want to open, you want to build rapport, and then do some qualifying. And then eventually you want to do a call to action. Make the offer. If they say yes, great, done. You're done selling. And if no, then maybe let them go. Throw them to Instagram for a lead nurture, or just counter the loss if they're not interested. So when it comes to opening a conversation, guys, you should always open. This is true on all apps except for Bumble. And when it comes down to what to say something, say anything. It could be as much as, oh, hi, my name is Jaron. Just make sure that you set the tone and direction of the conversation early. Remember, you want to be confident, calm, collected, and then fun and flirty. With a little bit of sexualization, but that requires a little more experience to make sure you do that well. You don't want to creep them out from the get-go. So once you get better, you'll be able to start doing that to a various degree. Now, in terms of responses, you want to continue the small talk to build rapport. And again, keep up the fun and flirty banter, guys. Just everything is light, nothing is serious. You don't even know this person yet, really. It's just a bunch of pixels arranged in a certain way on the screen. So don't get too beat up, or don't beat yourself up over it too much. You just want to escalate towards the meetup. And then at some point, you want to do a call to action. Nobody wants a pen pal on these apps. And then if you think you're getting a lot of matches, which most guys don't, but you'll get to a point where you're like, oh, wow, there's a lot of matches for me. Remember that most girls get 10 times as much. So you don't want to get lost. You don't want to get lost in all of our matches. Make the offer. Let's do this. Let's talk on Instagram. Let's meet for a coffee. Thursday at 2 p.m. or next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Which works best for you? Lead the conversation. Tell her where to go, what to expect, and what is happening next. And then again, usually the common ones are, hey, let me give you your number. I'll talk on text. Hey, let's do a call real quick. Let's do FaceTime, or just pop on Instagram. Can you pay to do an online search of dating app history? Well, I suppose you could, but first and foremost, I wouldn't recommend you do this, and I'll get into why. But the options, if you do want to go this route, I've never done this. So probably the traditional ones, like hire a private investigator, do a public information search, or just some old-fashioned social engineering, which is getting her password somehow, or somehow getting access to her information. Again, I wouldn't recommend doing this. From guys I've talked to that have gone this way, usually there's nothing good that comes out of it. You'll either find nothing and you'll completely destroy trust in the relationship. You will find something and you'll destroy the relationship, or you will beat yourself up looking for something and making something out of nothing, which again will destroy trust in the relationship. So really, if you're asking this question, I'd say you need to sit back and examine the relationship and probably realize it's about over. In general, it's just a bad idea, guys. You don't want to be that guy, and it puts you in a negative energy state too, which I'm not a huge advocate of. So don't stalk girls online. When you do this, you'll never get her. And times have changed quite a bit to where you can't follow girls around and do creepy stuff anymore. So there are legal ramifications for if you are harassing, and that includes digitally in a lot of jurisdictions. So if you have an idea that your girl's not into you, or she might be with someone else or whatever, go ahead and go with your intuition, and then just consider this over. You're not helping anyone. You're not helping her. You're not helping yourself, and you're definitely not helping the relationship. Now, here's a better idea. Put yourself out there on the market and then respond to girls who are genuinely interested in you. I know this is a novel concept. It blows a lot of people's minds, but I tell girls all the time, like, hey, you seem fun, but you know what? You don't seem like you like me that much. And they're like, what are you talking about? I like girls who like me, and I expect girls to like me that I like. And when you have that expectation, it's a very simple rule. It makes dating a lot easier, and it's a lot more fun. If you do get caught up on a single girl, like stop getting stuck on the one, guys. There's literally billions of girls in the world. And I assume that of those billions, let's say 1 in 100 girls that exist want to be with you, assuming they know you exist. Extrapolate that across the volume of girls that live in your city or in metro area or your state or your country or wherever, or just globally. We're in a global sexual marketplace now. And then realize, hey, there are so many endless opportunities out there with potential girls who do want to meet me and be with me. And you're just essentially wasting your time on someone who doesn't reciprocate your feelings. And then also, guys, the legal environment out there, you can't be doing this kind of stuff. So keep your legal record clean. You want ultimate freedom in life, and you want to protect your reputation too, which I think a lot of people in this space don't get into. Are the last time statuses on dating apps fake? This depends. If you're downloading low trust apps, like scammy looking apps, I'd say probably. If you're not sure if the app's scammy or not, look at the profiles and then go outside and ask yourself, do girls in real life look like this in my area? Ask around. Do I know anyone who's met anyone on one of these apps? And guys, a lot of people screw this up in multiple aspects of their life. Does it seem too good to be true? Normally the rule is if it does seem too good to be true, it usually is, and you should avoid this situation entirely. Now, when it comes to common dating apps, it depends on the platform, but I think more or less they are fairly accurate. They might take a couple minutes to update the status, but because I've had girls tell me, hey, it shows you're online. What are you doing on Tinder? I'm like, I haven't been on Tinder forever, but maybe it's in the background somewhere on my phone. So I'm not too sure, but usually I've noticed that they are fairly accurate, and these are nice features because if someone's shown as online now, then you can usually get an idea that, okay, if I send a message, she might see it. Maybe it won't get buried in all of her messages. Or if it shows last time online, that's, again, assume that maybe she's going on a schedule, or she's in somewhat of a routine. Let's be honest, guys. Most people are on a routine. Most of our days look exactly the same, day in and day out. So if you look at the last online, you can get an idea like, okay, she's online at 8 p.m. Then maybe the best time to reach out is at 8 p.m. when she's more likely to be online. So for me, it seems to work. I'd say it's close to being accurate, but it's not necessarily precise. But I wouldn't say outright fake. And again, it can be helpful. Online now is great for Insta dates. I've noticed Friday and Saturday nights at like 8, 9 p.m. or so, when people's plans start falling apart, that's where you'll get girls rushing to the apps like, oh my God, holy hell, I'm a hot girl. I don't want to stay home. I don't want to stay home alone on a weekend. So it's good for Insta dates if you know how to do that. And if you don't, visit menschrein.com, sign up for my mailing list, follow me, and I'll get you going. You're more likely not to get lost in matches. Again, she has an endless sea of matches, and you're just one of many faces on there. So you want to be able to make sure that she responds to you and that you get her off the app as fast as possible, so you're not competing with at least as many people as you would if you stayed on the app. How to tell if a girl is real on online dating apps. So there's a few ways to do this. It comes back to the same things that I recommend for guys. So profile, make sure that the profile is complete and there's complete profile information. If there's anything that looks weird or sticks out for your dating market, then maybe you might want to kind of shake your finger at it and give it a second look. And if they're verified or have premium status, then they usually indicates that, yeah, they're real profiles. Verified, I believe on most apps, you have to upload your ID. And for premium, you need a credit card. So someone put down money. Normally, I've noticed if you're going to scam someone, you normally don't put money down for it. These people are lazy. So fake profiles usually look pretty fake compared to other profiles. So just keep an eye out for this, guys. Pictures. You want clear photos of the face and body. I always say, and it's the same for guys too, girls, if you're listening, if they don't show their face or they don't show their body, there's usually a reason why. Won't get into further detail. Just go about your swiping adventure with that in mind, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's better brownie points, bonus points, if they are connected to social media, especially Instagram. And then again, you want to apply the same criteria to Instagram. Does the profile look real? You can usually tell if they're scammy. They'll have like crazy bit links, or they'll redirect you to some paywall or something like that. Just don't do that. But if it looks like the friends are real and it has a reasonable amount of followers, it doesn't look crazy or spammy or like they bought a bot farm or something, then you'll probably be okay. Conversation. This is a big giveaway too. If I'm suspecting, okay, well, I'm not sure about this profile. Like it could go either way. Test them. If they don't know local places, like, hey, what part of town do you live in? A lot of fake profiles of bots, they'll say something like, oh, I live in Center, or I live in City Center. Like, okay, well, where I live, it's not called City Center. No one knows it is City Center, or they can't name a neighborhood or a landmark. Then you know she's fake. Just delete her. If they direct you to a sketchy website, then that's odd. A lot of girls do use Instagram, or I'm sorry, Tinder as a marketing tool because they want you to get to their Instagram and they upsell you to OnlyFans. So if they direct you directly to a paywall, like a porn site or something, I'd say cut bait and just don't go for it. And again, if they ask for payment at any point, this isn't necessarily even directing to a payment site. If they get you on WhatsApp and say, "Oh, hey, can you loan me $30? I need a tank of gas," or, oh God, with inflation, half a tank of gas now, depending upon the car you drive. But in general, if she asks for a payment at any point, just go ahead and cut bait. You don't want to deal with that. How to meet someone online without a dating app. Well, this goes to my favorite dating app, which a lot of people don't realize that it is a dating app. It's Instagram. It's the largest digital dating marketplace, and it's a powerful social proof magnet if you do it right. Now, Instagram isn't like your traditional swipe app or like a profile type app, but it's a great place to prospect. And that's because you're essentially selling yourself. If you're not selling a product or service, you're selling yourself, really. And you can tell if a girl's selling herself. Is the profile public and she's not selling a product outright? Are all of her posts of herself alone? And especially if she's in like lingerie, swimsuits, doing sexy poses, she's essentially advertising herself as single because she's not selling a product or service. She is the product and or service. And then some tips, guys, on your dating profiles. Make sure you connect them to Instagram. If not, put it in the description if you can, if it allows you to, or in your conversations, direct them to Instagram. Now, when she gets to Instagram, you want to make sure that you generally lead a very interesting lifestyle. So take good photos as you're out and about. Get in the habit of taking photos. It's tough at first. For me at first, I didn't like taking photos. I thought it was kind of stupid. But you eventually get in the habit and you realize that it is a powerful marketing tool for following up on your online dating prospects. And then consistent posts and stories equals DMs. I'm not going to get into how to game the algorithm. If you want to get in on that, on menshine.com, I'll be launching a game room here very shortly, and we will dive into the nitty gritty of all these things. But really what a consistent post and story does is it keeps you top of mind. Again, she has hundreds of matches. The interaction you just had with her to where you got her number, got her Instagram, she has that with multiple guys a day. So she doesn't know who you are unless you really wow her. But what you can do is wow her with consistent posts and stories of interesting things. Usually if I do a post or story, I'll get 2 or 3 inbounds as far as they're along the lines of, hey, you're in my neighborhood, or, oh, how long are you in town for? Oh, I like that bar. I got one today. Oh, I went to that same restaurant last night. I didn't see you. What time were you there? These are her opening the conversation with you, which again, you can lead to escalate to essentially setting the meetup or eventually setting the meetup. How to stop talking to someone on an online dating app. Well, this is the same way as you would do as if you met them in real life and you started conversing. Let's assume via text. So the most common ways, and guys, these ways are really rude. I don't advise this, but people do it anyways, and it's more common this will happen to you than going about it the correct, more gentlemanly way. So ghosting is when you're texting, and she suddenly just stops talking. You see that your message has been read. Maybe my rule is I'll respond twice, like, because people get busy. There's probably a batch of messages I haven't responded to, so maybe give it a day or two. Like, oh, hey, hey, get busy, or hey, let's catch up, or hey, let's go finally grab that drink. Now, if I respond twice and she doesn't answer, then you delete the contact and then unfollow her on Instagram, but you can let her follow you too. Flaking is where you make plans, but you just don't show up. A lot of girls do this. I'll admit I've done it by accident before. That's because I made the date and I didn't write it down. I didn't put it in my agenda, and then I get a pissed off girl. So guys, if you want to be better than the other guys on the dating market, I always say don't be a rude person either. I can't stand rude girls, and I cut them off immediately, any sign of rudeness. And the rudest way of going about it is to just simply bail. This is where you show up and you leave without notice. I've never had a girl do this to me, but I have done it to a couple of girls. And again, I do it to them if they're completely rude. I give it an hour, but usually know within a few minutes, but I'll let it ride. And I want to test too. If I think the date's going nowhere, maybe I'll take some more time. All right, I'll tell some new stories. I'll try some new lines. I'll try a new technique or something just to see what the feedback is. But a lot of times now, almost immediately, if the girl's rude, I'll buy a coffee or something. And after that, just, hey, you know what? Not feeling it. Break down the fourth wall, be honest. Like, hey, I'm not feeling it. It doesn't look like you like me much either. And, let's just go ahead and give each other's days back. And a lot of girls appreciate this, because just because you're on the date doesn't mean you have to force it. Girls hate being forced. They hate being put in a situation where they have to let you down. So if you can do it, if you're socially savvy enough to identify this is going nowhere, then go ahead and just call it out. Don't be rude about it. Do a polite, soft rejection if there's no attraction, and just say, hey, I might be out in left field here, but I'm sensing that we're not quite vibing. Are you getting that same thing? Or again, maybe I'm wrong. Always give her the out, because girls, you normally don't take rejection well. As guys, we get rejected day in and day out. You should be used to it now. At least I am. It doesn't even faze me. But a lot of women have not been rejected before. At least they've not been rejected by guys that they want to date. So do a soft rejection. Just letting her like, hey, are you feeling this? I'm not sure if I'm feeling it. Am I out of line here? And just engage her. Take it from there. I have done that before, where I've been like, hey, this is not going in the direction I think either of us thought it would. And then the girl breaks down the fourth wall. She's like, yeah, not at all. Like, I'm definitely getting brother, like, friend vibe, but this is fun. Like, let's people watch, or let's do that. Or like, hey, let's finish the drink and just shoot the ish. And that can turn a bad situation into a better one. Now I'm pretty busy, so I usually don't waste my time. Now, the best way to avoid getting into these situations is to make the offer for the meetup very clear. So again, set the expectation from the get-go as far as what this date is going to entail and what you're looking to get out of it. And if you don't do this, a lot of girls now are savvy enough to where they'll do it for you. Like, hey, what are you looking for? What do you want? What are you doing? Ideally, she shouldn't ask you these questions, because your profile should be set up in a way and your communication should be done in a way to where this is very clear. A lot of times when I do my batch messaging, because girls get busy, I get busy, they might not necessarily respond immediately. So I'll say something like, well, hey, I'm free Friday night. Let's meet at 7 p.m. and go for a walk in the park and catch the sunset. And then drop your digits. I always drop Instagram and WhatsApp. If she goes to Instagram, she needs some more qualification, or she's qualifying you. She wants to make sure you are who you say you are, make sure there's social proof. Make sure you're not a weirdo or anything like that. So that's where you can drip market her with your posts and stories. Or if she goes straight to your text or WhatsApp, that means it's time to set the logistics. Now, when I do this, I'll go through the batches. When the girl, I'll say something like, let's do Netflix and chill, for example. That's an old one. Some girls still put it on their profiles, but not many anymore. Everyone knows what Netflix and chill means. But let's just say we say like, hey, let's do Netflix and chill this Friday, and then drop your Instagram and your number. And then you walk away from the app. You live your life. You go about your day. You don't worry about it. It's a take it or leave it option. It's an open invite, and it gives her the opportunity to reject you too in a soft manner. Now, what's really nice is when you do this days earlier and then you forget all about it, and come Friday, you have multiple girls texting like, hey, let's do that Netflix and chill, or hey, let's do insert activity that you suggested as your offer. And again, guys, this might sound like Greek to you, but we'll get into what constitutes an online dating offer, and then how to view it more like a marketing and sales funnel if you go to menshrine.com. And eventually I'll be launching this game room here, and I have courses. I have all sorts of cool stuff coming down the line. And that will do it for this presentation. I want to make sure that you guys are reminded to subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, and like the video or comment if you have anything that you'd like to leave for me feedback wise. Again, I'll be doing a lot more of these videos. I'll be doing at least one thorough one a week, a bunch of clips and shorts and things like that. And then if you haven't followed me already on Instagram, go ahead and do so at Menshrine. And I'll be going on a lot more other guys' podcasts and shows and live streams. So you'll be seeing a lot more of me if you choose to do so. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video either way, and maybe I'll pop back up in your feed again. Take care, folks.